Hi, and welcome to Seychelles. Me and my team will take you to the most beautiful 150 islands that you have ever seen. These are some topics that we're gonna be discussing today: the political landscape, starting a business, tax overview, and law and regulations, and way more. But first, let's start with some background information. The self-government was granted in 1975 and independence on June 29, 1976, within the government 12 of the nations. In 1975, a coalition government was formed with James Matches as president and Frans Albert René as premier minister. The current president is Walter Remakla, and he is in power since 2020. The Seychelles population consists of 30,000 residents, where 90% live on the main island Mahé. They have a tropical climate with a daily temperature of between 24 and 30 degrees Celsius. Their mother language is Seychelles Creole, but they also can communicate in French and English. Seychelles consists of 150 islands, but only 33 are inhabited. They have a 44% urban nations and have a lot of coral that makes it the most beautiful place to dive and see the sea life. The life expectancy is between 73 and 80 years, and it's a bit lower compared to Europe. Religion plays a big part in the culture, where 82% of the populations are Catholics and celebrate their holidays. But you also see a mix of Islam and Hinduism between some islands. Currently, the population consists of more women, which makes it a female-dominant society. If you come to visit this beautiful country, then you definitely need to visit the weekly crafty fair and maybe see a traditional Mountie dance. People mostly live there on export and selling their goods like fish and spices, but mainly of tourists, what makes 25% of their income, because they have the most beautiful beaches and the perfect weather.
Let's begin with how you can start a business in Seychelles. Seychelles provides abundant opportunities for entrepreneurs due to its business friendly environment. The process is straightforward. First, you file an application with the government. This application must include essential documents like your business plan, financial statements, and details of your current operations. And another thing is like once you submit it, you will wait for approval and need to obtain specific permits and licenses. And common ones included a business license, local government permits, and securities and exchange commissions permit, which is called SEC. And this process typically takes a few weeks to a few months, and depending on approvals. So after the registration, you are ready to operate. Okay, now we'll talk about the company types. And Seychelles offers a wide varieties of company types tailored to different business needs. Like international business companies or IVCs are the most common due to minimal statutory requirements. Other options are like mm, limited liability companies, sole ownerships, and special license companies you can find in Seychelles. Okay, the next slide is location, and it's very important. Location is the key for any business. Seychelles offers a range of options, with Mahe and Porcelain Island being the most recommended. These islands provide better infrastructures, transportation, and population access. So to find the right spot, you should access zoning law and accessibility. Then you can do evaluate environmental challenges, and not but the least, use resources like Seychelles investor map, which highlights the investment opportunities and suitable areas. Okay, the cost of setting up a business in Seychelles is very cost efficient, and the cost of notarizing is like starting about 10,000 Seychelles rupees is around 700 euros, Then you must file the uh, particulars of all directors and the secretaries of companies, which is together in one form. Yet there is a separate form for registered office. So both of these documents cost like €7. Then you have to pay like €80 to obtain business license. So in total, to set up a business in Seychelles, it would cost around 12,000 Seychelles rupees, which is like 800 euros. So it is very cost efficient. Next, let's look at the tax regime in Seychelles. Seychelles has a multitude of laws and regulations regarding business in the country, depending on what types of business you want to start or have. There will be different laws and regulation you have to follow. Like for most businesses, taxes are 15% on income up to Seychelles currencies like 1 million, and 25% for income beyond this threshold. And certain sectors like agriculture and fisheries may qualify for like exemptions, and it is essential to register your business with the Seychelles Revenue Commissions within 28 days of starting operations. The process is self assessed and designed to encourage compliance.
Hi, so Seychelles is governed by this Business Companies Act. The Business Companies Act is a legislation that invites the operation of international businesses, IBCs. There is an ease of registration for international businesses without any extensive local presence requirements. They get tax benefits as no corporate taxes on non-Sichuan income is a strong law, and shareholders and directors of IBCs can keep their details confidential. The Employment Act is another huge part of Seychelles law. All employees must have written contracts specifying terms and conditions of employment. They have leave entitlement and should be entitled to sick leave, annual leave, maternity leave, and other type of leaves set by specific laws depending on your situation. They have termination protections, which ensures that fairness and severance payments for eligible employees. They also have good contract laws, such as mutual consent, where both parties must agree to the terms for a contract to be official. They must have clear terms and conditions, including working hours, detailed salaries and job description, and probationary periods, commonly set at 3 months, which, if failed to adhere to these terms, can lead to legal disputes. Moving on, employment. The average in Seychelles for workers are 5 to 6 days a week, with extended working hours of 48 to 60 hours weekly, with a maximum of 12 hours overtime, which is carefully analyzed by the employers and the government to make sure of fairness. Seychelles must also get a 1 month notice for their terminations, as the employer does need time to find someone to replace them and figure out all the legal implications of their salary and to calculate the work they have done to give them their final pay. As for the business sectors in Seychelles, tourism is a very huge industry in Seychelles. Seychelles depends heavily on tourism, and there are many ecotourism opportunities. Seychelles has many resorts, hotels, luxury services, restaurants, charters, and many more across all the 135 islands, which are all there for the benefit of the tourist. There are very saturated market of tourism, which is a lot of it is very luxurious and expensive. to attract and keep the comfort of the tourist to the maximum. Seychelles' other big industries, fisheries. It's one of Seychelles' biggest industries. They rely on it heavily in their exports, as thousands and thousands of Seychellois are fishermen who go out there and they catch fish and they sell it on the market to the Seychellois, to the tourist, or they sell it to big companies like IoT, which is a company that fishes tuna and cans it and exports it all over the world. Fisheries is actually the biggest export that Seychelles has, making it one of its biggest sources of income for the country. And it's with the fisheries industry in Seychelles is with a significant amount of the total GDP of the island. Moving on, I'll talk to you about the cross-cultural aspects. So 90% of the population is Creole, which is a mixture of French, European, African influence, creating a very unique and diverse culture called the Creole culture. But there is a diversity in the country of Seychelles, as we do have an Indian and Chinese community. The Indian and Chinese community are a huge influence in Seychelles, as they are known for being enormous entrepreneurs in the commerce and business side of the country. They they invest heavily in wholesale and hardware stores, supplying the Sichuan people with all the groceries and equipment they might need to live their day-to-day lives. But on the political side of things, it is heavily influenced by Creole, as most Sichuan are only comfortable to have a Creole leader in office, and with most of the parties being Creole dominated. This is enforcement of the significance of Creole culture in Seychelles. Although there is a French influence, a lot of Sichuan are a mixture of French and other sorts of cultures. This is because before the first coup d'etat, the French dominated the agriculture and ran most of the farms in Seychelles, which today has disappeared quite enormously. But the Creole now continues to dominate the agriculture since the French has left. And yeah.
Hello, my name is Lelani Leemans, and I will talk more about business etiquette, negotiating a business deal, and some Belgian companies that do business in Seychelles. First, I'll talk about business etiquette, what you should and should not do in business. Following the business etiquette in a foreign country when doing business is crucial, as it can make or break your business deal. Here are some business etiquettes you should follow when doing business in Seychelles. Number one is dress code. In Seychelles, generally people wear formal yet lightweight and comfortable fabric such as linen due to the warm climate. Men wear suits and women can wear both suits or dresses. Dressing neat and smart is essential on making a positive first impression on your business partner. Punctuality is also extremely important in Seychelles. It is best to be a few minutes early as this shows respect for your hosts. In Seychelles, establishing a relationship is crucial for business. Engaging in informal conversations before discussing business is common, as is asking about the family of your potential business partner or cultural interest, as this can help you find common interest which could build your relationship and trust. Building a relationship and trust can take you a long way. Polite communication is the way to go. You should avoid confrontational or aggressive behavior, be actively listening, and carefully choosing your words when addressing concerns. The exchange of business cards is standard in Seychelles. Your card should be in English and be given respectfully with both hands. When receiving a business card, don't be hesitant to read it to show interest. Now I will give a few tips on how to have successful negotiations in Seychelles. As said previously, don't be hesitant to spend time on informal discussion, as Seychellois value relationship building. You should use a respectful tone in all discussions, even when you disagree with something your potential business partner has said. You need to be flexible in decision making, and you should never push the person you want to do business with into quick decisions. Allow them to take the time to look into things before agreeing. Hierarchy is important in Seychelles. You should address senior executives respectfully and prioritize meetings with decision makers. It is extremely important to show respect for diversity. You can do this by learning basic Seychellois Creole greetings. You should also avoid making assumptions about cultural practices and adapt your approach to different cultures, as Seychelles is a melting pot of diverse cultures. By respecting these characteristics, you can foster great connections and increase your likelihood of successful negotiations. Now, I will present some Belgian companies that do business in Seychelles. ISPC, which stands for International Specialty Product and Catering, is a Belgian owned wholesale supplier based in Seychelles. The company provides high quality, mostly important, products and catering to hotels, restaurants, and other businesses in the hospitality industry. DEME is another Belgian company. DEME stands for Dredging, Environmental, and Marine Engineering. They do business all over the world, including in Seychelles. Jean de Nul Group is a huge Belgian company with businesses all over the world, as well as in Seychelles. Its main focus is also dredging. Now we have come to the end of our presentation. My group and I want to thank you for listening. Hopefully, you learned more about the wonderful country of Seychelles, as well as how to do business there in the future. Thank you.